Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Kostas Lianos here from Gate 7 International, or Kostas with a K, as I am beginning to be known. Apologies for not appearing all these days after the historic victory over Maccabi Tel Aviv in Serbia. I was away, unfortunately, with a suitcase on hand throughout the entire time. But now I am back on base, and I am going to share with you my 2 cents about Olympiakos' historic victory over Maccabi Tel Aviv, historic 6-1 victory over Maccabi Tel Aviv, which, in my opinion, is an extremely major turning point. What do I mean? During my last appearance on the podcast, it was after Olympiakos' 4-1 loss to Maccabi Tel Aviv at Georgios Karaiskakis. It was yet another thrashing at Georgios Karaiskakis after Maccabi Haifa, after Karabag, after Atalanta, something that Olympiakos have unfortunately started to see too much of in Europe when Karaiskakis is supposed to be a fortress. What I said was that in the last 16 of a major European competition, at that stage of a major European competition, a club doesn't make the quarterfinals based on who they are. They make it based on what they are. Real Madrid haven't won most Champions Leagues than anyone else, necessarily because all those years that they won, they were the best team. They won all those Champions League titles. Among them were 3 title triumphs in a row, the only team to ever do this, the only team to ever win it twice in a row, because Real Madrid are the Champions League. They have the history, the culture, the mentality, the identity, the style. That's why they do it. On paper, Man City should have won at least 3 Champions League titles by now. They won 1 last year by kicking and screaming. Paris Saint-Germain, the same. They should have won at least 3, and they have won absolutely 0. Newcastle should have been up there in the Premier League with Liverpool, Arsenal, and Man City vying for the Premier League title. Instead, they are on mid-table, and there is a strong chance they won't even make it to Europe next season, even though they are the richest club in the world right now. So like I said, it's not about who you are, it's about what they are. Man City are not yet up there in the Real Madrid status. Same goes for Paris Saint-Germain. Newcastle are not up there in the Liverpool, Man City status right now. That's something they're going to have to build on it. So what I said was, on paper, Olympiacos should have been the ones beating Maccabi Tel Aviv 4-1 at Karaiskaki, but they lost. Why? Because there is a long history of Olympiacos choking in the last 16 of a major European competition. We saw that with Metalist Kharkiv. We saw that with Atalanta. We saw that with Wolves. There is a history there. And just as we expected Olympiacos to choke with Maccabi at Batskatopola once more, Olympiacos did the unthinkable. They did something Olympiacos have never done in their entire history. They went with a 4-1 deficit and turned it around with a magnificent 6-1 victory. And they did it on extra time, which is something you don't see that often from mediocre European clubs. Now, I'm not saying Olympiacos are suddenly a top European club, and I am certainly not saying that Maccabi are some giants that Olympiacos have slayed. If anything, Olympiacos have their work cut out with Fenerbahce in the quarterfinals right now. And if, and that's a major if they make it to the semifinals, they are almost definite to meet a very, very strong Aston Villa side, who are the major favorites to win the conference this season. But what I'm saying is, what happened in Serbia needs to be treated as a major turning point in Olympiakos' future. What do I mean? This victory needs to be a foundation, a basis that says, okay, guys, we got something extremely special here. Extremely special. This season has been an absolute roller coaster. We're probably not winning the league. We're probably not finishing second. We're probably not finishing third. Yes, there is a chance we're still finishing fourth after what we saw with Panathinaikos at Karaiskakis. But there is a future here. Every summer, the question is, who will Olympiacos sign? Well, this summer, The question needs to be, who will Olympiacos maintain on their roster? In the last few years, Olympiacos have been making it past the group stages of a major European competition very, very frequently. In fact, Olympiacos have made it past the group stages of a major European competition in their last 13 attempts out of the last 15 years. So in their last 15 attempts, Olympiacos have made it to the knockout stages of a major European competition 13 times. And we're talking about a Greek club here with a Greek budget and a Greek owner. No Saudis, no Qataris, no Americans, no Chinese. It's a Greek owner who's doing all this. So there's already an identity there, a European identity. Now, this identity needs to be brought from here up to here. So, and all of you watching us from audio, listening to us from audio, what I mean is Olympiacos need to pick it up. Olympiacos need to climb up the rankings right now. The first move needs to be to maintain Jose Luis Mendilibar in the dugout right now. Vangelis Marinakis has offered Mendilibar a contract extension that takes his time at Olympiacos to 2025. In my opinion, needs to be a longer contract because that will show even more trust to him. Mendilibar has not yet signed the dotted line. I exclusively revealed at Gate 7 International and on The Sun, where I work, that Jose Luis Mendilibar has a contract until June with an option to extend until 2025. Olympiacos need to build on that Maccabi Tel Aviv triumph by making sure, first of all, that Mendilibar extends his stay. And now I'm looking at a list of players that certainly need to be at Olympiacos next season and certainly need to have longer contracts. I'm looking at players like Alexandros Paschalakis, Kostas Zolakis, Rodinei, Francisco Ortega, Panos Retsos, Santiago Eze, Andre Horta, Chiquinio, Kostas Fortounis, Yorgos Masouras, Daniel Podense, Ayub El Kabi. Out of all those players, we have Zolakis, Horta, Fortounis, Masouras, Podence, and El Kabi, whose contracts run out in June. So before Olympiacos sign any other players, those players need to sign new deals and long deals. Because this way, Olympiacos maintain a core of players with the experience in Europe and an experience of winning titles, such as Fortounis, such as Masouras, such as Podence, such as Paschalakis. And this way, there is a basis for which to bring the young players, all those incredible young players who have shone bright in the Youth League by making it to the semifinals where they're expected to face Nantes in April. You bring them in and there's a smooth transition. There's those players, those current stars, where it's going to take those youngsters by the hand and show them what Olympiacos is all about, what the demands are, what you need to do, where the bar's at, where they put the bar. And I'm talking about players like Isidoros Koutsidis, Konstantinos Kostoulas, Christos Mouzakitis, Adonis Papakanellos, DB Keita, and of course, the next big thing, Babis Kostoulas. You look at Papakanellos, he's going to come on and find Fortounis at number 10. Kostoulas is going to come on and find El Kabi up front. Isidoros Koutsidis, Kostas Kostoulas, they're going to come on and they're going to find Panos Retsos at center back. In my opinion, these are the match against Maccabi Tel Aviv shows that this is the priority. Maintain a core of players who are still young. Most of them are very young still, and they can carry Olympiacos in Greece and Europe for the next 5 years. This is going to create a unity, a strong core, a strong structure, a spine in this team. And you bring in the next big thing that's going to carry Olympiacos for the next 10 years. And this way, you create a strong team with an identity, a style, a mentality, a tradition, a history. That's how Olympiacos need to build from the Maccabi game. Olympiacos have never done such a thing. I've seen Olympiacos being ridiculed by Israeli clubs, and it was obvious that the players' pride was hurt by that. But we never saw it on the pitch. We finally saw it. This is a turning point, boys and girls. Just like Arsenal was a turning point at the Emirates. Just like Werder Bremen was a turning point at the Weserstadion. And Olympiacos never looked back after those games. This is how Olympiacos need to use what happened in Serbia. This is a golden opportunity regardless of what happens in June. Even if Olympiacos miss out in Europe and Aris win the Greek Cup, which I don't think is going to happen, I think this Olympiacos team can finish at least second. This Olympiacos can turn this around and even win the league. That is only if they maintain a momentum. But even no matter what happens this season, Vangelis Marinakis has a huge opportunity. A cycle has ended at Olympiacos. There's no point in trying to continuing a cycle that's already ended. Time to draw a new one. And by God, there is a huge opportunity to do this. There, you already have the players in your current roster. They're already there. They're the ones who are going to continue drawing this new circle, who can be even brighter than any circle Olympiacos has ever drawn. Those are the players who can take some extremely talented youngsters, Greek players as well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. They're Greeks, and they love Olympiacos. They know Olympiacos. This thing could create the perfect storm at Olympiacos, the perfect storm at the Greek Super League, the perfect storm in Europe. This is the recipe that with the right additions, very calculated additions, and I'm talking a center back to replace Carmo and a really good number 6, pretty much those two additions. David Carmo-esque center back and the Yann Villa-esque number 6. Those are the two number 6. Those are the two additions I'm talking about this summer. You bring those two players, you maintain Zolakis, Paschalakis, Rodinei, Ortega, Retsos, Eze, Orta, Tsikinio, Fortounis, Masouras, Podence, El Kabi. You bring up players like Koutsidis, Kostas Kostoulas, Mouzakitis, Papakanelos, Keita, and Babis Kostoulas. And this is your new squad for next season and for many, many years to come, with very few sales to maintain the FFP regulations, which I'm going to be honest with you guys, after what happened with Nottingham Forest, after the 4-point deduction, which could lead to relegation, I doubt Marinakis is going to take too many risks. And yes, I do expect more loan deals. But before you do this, seriously consider giving new contracts to the players who are running out in June. Seriously, try and maintain loanees like Orta, like Podence. Extend El Kabi and bring in the youngsters. And then you can sell from those youngsters. And also you can make profit out of Europe, especially if Olympiacos make the semifinals of the conference. There is a golden opportunity here, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Huge opportunity, and it's on Vangelis Marinakis' hands already. He already has a treasure of a team. Maintain this team. Don't be trigger happy if the season ends poorly in Greece. You've already succeeded in Europe. If you don't succeed in Greece, don't start cutting heads. Like I said, guys, when Olympiacos do well, don't get too high. When Olympiacos don't do well, don't go too low. Don't get too low. Huge opportunity here, boys. The players are there. The manager is there. And there's a future with those amazing young players. So that is all from me, you guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Do join us on Patreon. The channel keeps growing. Olympiacos keep growing. And the future, in my opinion at least, is very, very bright.